Hey guys, Merrick here again with another game and chat. Because I kind of had a thought during this week about what is happening with nerd culture and how it's sort of being monetized rather than it sort of feeling like a, you know, just a form of like entertainment for people or like, just the culture of enjoying stuff. It bothers me that we can't sort of, that it's just being sort of put on, like, nerd culture is being put on a pedestal that is being used to peddle crap rather than, quality products and or things based off of our favorite properties. It bothers me because, I think the consumers deserve better, especially when it comes to, like, something like our, is it, if it is our favorite property, we do deserve better because, you want to see, like, accuracy and all that good shit when it comes to the product. But the problem is that none of the things do that well. Like, the reason why it bothers me is because, well, we can't exactly, we don't make the product. We're only the person who's consuming the product. And obviously we vote with our wallets on what we like, what we don't like, etc., which is good. That's how the economy works, and that is free market and all that jazz. But why do companies keep peddling us like, piles of crap every time like this sort of thing goes on? Like, one of the biggest offenders of this sort of thing is Funko and their Pop collection and all their other like little weird, super deformed figurines. Like, it's kind of gross to me that that's sort of that's sort of like, that's the nerd thing. It's like, well, why is it the nerd thing exactly? It's just the nerd thing. It's like, well, why? I remember back in the 90s, haha, not to do the BoJack Horseman thing, but not that I was really alive in like the 90s, but there were a lot of action figures based off properties. I've showed some off too, like the freaking what the hell is the thing? The Ivy and the Ada Wong from Resident Evil 2. Like, those were back then, and they are really good for like what they are, but they're nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? But the point is that we've had quality like that for years, right? And we it died when it came to like the sort of modern era when it became big and popular. And it's good that, like I said, it's good that nerd culture is mainstream. But I feel as though we're being taken advantage of for the sake of, selling like, cheaply made products. Like, Funko, as I said, is a prime example with their Pop figures and all their other weird sort of super deformed and little blind bag box things. But why is that the case though? Like, why do they make these sort of weird little things? Like, I don't see the appeal. I do know that there are some that work. Like, I've gotten, out of my own accord, I've bought a liquor from Resident Evil Pop because I'm like, yeah, no, that works as that totally works as like a thing. But I don't see the whole picture here with it. It's kind of like, taking it, because it's, what, it really is like, it's just like, it's an easy product to make, and it's like, air quotes, easily recognizable because of like the design of the character, even though it's like, super deformed and all that jazz. Even so, though, like, the appeal is just not there if you're not into that sort of thing. When it comes to me, I'm looking for accuracy. I like to see the characters in their full detail, and we've had that for many years before these Funko Pops sort of started showing up. And it's not just Funko Pops. There's a ton of, like, weird, sort of, like, super deformed, easy to produce, easy to see things that are being made. And it bothers me because, well, we are able to, the human mind can, like, imagine all, like, this sort of stuff. And what do we come up with? Oh, this sort of, like, not even chibi, but like almost chibi design sort of things that barely look like the characters, barely do anything but the poses. It's like, it's just basic, extremely basic. Like, I thought this was all about to be like, you know, cool, verbose, and all this other stuff. But why is all of this stuff now, like, very basic? Like, it's literally just, like, designed to be, like, I wouldn't say catchy, but it's designed to be, like, I don't even know if it's designed to be appealing, really. But it's just designed to, you know, try to appeal to something, and I personally don't see the appeal, but I think that we're getting ripped off for this sort of thing. It's not just, like, the pops, too, but it's, like, a lot of other things that I've seen being sold in, like, I guess you could say merchandise shops and everything like that. For an example, Fallout has, like, and these are made by Funko, too. I really don't want this to be turned into a Funko thing, but I can't help but see that a lot of it is actually made by Funko. And I don't want anything against Funko, but it's hard to disassociate it when a lot of it is made by Funko. So Funko makes, like, these sort of Fallout put together figures. Like, you could pull off the arms of the power armor, and then you could put them on other things like that. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but who is the targeted audience for this item, right? Like, I want to know, because I thought Fallout was supposed to be a, you know, M-rated title. Like, a lot of stuff that's, like, you know, can't exactly show the kids and everything like that. Like, all censorship and all that bullshit or whatever, right? So, what is this, you know, this is, like, sort of like a very kiddie item being sold in, like, a merchandise shop. It's almost on a level of, like, I don't know. It feels very weird to think about it like that. But it's true. Like, who is this being sold to? Like, who's this for? Like, what demographic is buying this? I just want to know, because I'm like, you know, it doesn't seem to be my demographic, or like the other nerd demographics. I don't see anybody. I haven't seen personally anybody buy these things. Like, these sort of line the shelves, like they're made and they're sort of left to rot and all that jazz. Like, occasionally you'll get like a high quality figure out of like a company like NECA or something like that. And once again, because of these Funko Pops, right, all of like the things that people actually want go up in price, and it's a pain in the ass to try to get it, because, yeah, everything's fucking expensive afterwards, you know? So, like, I can understand why people want stuff and all this other stuff. But some of this stuff is just like, you know, who wanted this? Like, who wanted to buy this? Like, whose demographic does this belong to? What is this? And all that other jazz, right? So, why is it that, you know, this is now the case where we're living in a thing where the high-quality products are extremely hard to come by, and all of, like, because they're hard to come by, they're very expensive, and, you know, it just feels like crap. I honestly think that we are in a sort of weird, like, weird turn of this, I wouldn't say industrialization, but, like, they're really, really, really trying hard to, you know, industrialize nerd culture in this fashion. Where, oh yeah, so we got all the stuff here ready, and if we need to, you know, sell this now, you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't, at least for me, and I think a lot of other people, like, it doesn't work. It's like you know, it's like, it feels like shortchanging. Because we've had very high quality products for many years in terms of, like, action figures, display pieces and stuff like that. And now it's just like, just put the name of a popular property on something and then sell it at, like, a high price, a high to mid-tier price, depending on what the hell it is. And that's nerd. And that's, like, you know, that's merchandise. I know that this sort of thing was done with Star Wars all the way back in the day and everything like that, where everything, you put the picture's name on everything and it sells. Merchandising, as Spaceballs puts it. There's nothing wrong with merchandising, but it's like, nowadays it just feels like it's very much, everything is just like, we're like everything, even the smallest thing, it's like a super franchise. Like, Cuphead quickly became popular and it got Funko figures. Like, everything is signed on with Funko, and it's crazy. And like it's all just garbage. It's all just like this super deformed looking, like, box-headed things, and in favor of accurately designed cool things that you can pose, display, and all this other stuff in high detail. Like, what was I saying? The thing about it is that like I said, as we used to get these sorts of like old products, we used to get these sort of old products that are like really good for high prices. Not even high prices. Like, you could get like this. You got Funko Pops for like $14, right? And if you've ever seen my figure collection, some of the older figures you could have gotten back in the day for about the same price or a little over. Hell, Diamond Select Toys is a better option, and they're about like mid-level, and I think they're like about like $14 to $20 depending on the figure, and they're really good. I'd say they're like a decent replacement for like the $100 and over Japanese figures. Like, that's what I'm saying. It feels like we're being forced, if you really want like accuracy, it feels like you're being forced to pay top dollar to something that's like completely out of left field, versus like, something being produced like, for the cheap, not even the cheap, but like, good quality for cheap. Like, I remember there being like a sort of video game select figure that I saw once, and it was like Samus Aran, and I could only imagine like back in the day how much that was. And I probably guess it would be like $20 back then, and it was like, I think about 50 now when I saw it. And this was like a little while ago, so it might be a little more depending on how rare it is. And like, understandably, when it comes to rarity, wants, and needs, and all that other shit, yeah, that's obvious. Everything is gonna have like a weird price on it because of that. However, I still think that we need to sort of take back nerd culture from this sort of, whatchamacallit, this industrialization, or like this overselling of it. Because if we just sort of let this happen, what's, stopping from everything else? Like, what if somebody produces like a really crappy, like, I don't know, like, what if it's just like a card or something like that, and they start selling that? You know what? It's sort of like the dawn of the loot box that sort of spawned this, I guess, where I feel as though I don't dislike I'm not going to say loot box, I mean like loot crate, I meant to say. The dawn of this thing that's just like, sort of pushing like this sort of cheap garbage. Or it only hosts like the popular thing. It sort of goes in with my feelings on like stuff like Ready Player One. But this is just sort of my own input on it, other than like my own form of like personal input on it, where I feel as though it's like, okay, they're trying to push like all this stuff that's popular, which is understandable, but at the same time I'm just like, so why are we trying to push this exactly? Like, shouldn't we be trying to push like stuff that's like for the niche markets too, and everything like that as well? Because that's what nerd culture was always about. It's about it's about the popular things in the niche markets of nerds. And I'm not even gonna be like this. I'm not even gonna be like the turbo nerd who's like, oh man, we gotta watch like, we only gotta do all this stuff because it's like out of the blue, man. No, I'm saying that like there needs to be a decent market for this stuff so that there's enough interesting objects produced that it's worth our money and time as nerds to purchase it and display it. I don't like, I don't want to come off as that guy who's just like, you know, I don't want to come off as like, we need to, like, you know, take back nerd culture from like this, because I'm not saying that. We just need to get a better understanding of like what we're buying and everything like that. What we're buying, what we're being sold, and stop taking crap from, like, you know, companies that are just trying to sell us crap. I don't like how we feel like we're being, I don't like how it feels like nerd culture and everything like that is being shortchanged by corporations that are selling cheaply made, inaccurate pieces of crap that for some reason treats like the Beanie Baby effect. That's what it sort of is, the whole thing over again with these Funko Pops and all this other stuff. It's a Beanie Baby effect. I can admit I have a few. Some were given to me as gifts. Others were given like at least one I bought of my own accord because I think, yeah, no, that makes sense as to why it would be a Funko Pop. And it's what it's becoming. It's just going to turn into like all these weird sort of things. It's not even going to be a Beanie Baby because there are going to be so many of them that they're going to be useless at some point. The bubble will burst, and when the bubble bursts, it's done. And I really don't want to see nerd culture not even go out that way, but like, I don't want to see it end up like, you know, not even disappearing, but like, we're at the top, but we kind of don't treat it at the top is the thing. We're just taking everything for granted, I guess, and that's what it sort of feels like. It feels like we're being shortchanged and we're taking it for granted, and we're not doing anything about it. But that's my thoughts on this whole sort of like nerd culture being sold to us and everything like that. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you all later. Well, before I go, I should just say, you know, if you want to share your opinions down there, well, we can have a chat. You know, it's game and chat and all that shit. You know, if you agree, you agree. If you disagree, let's hear about it. You know, I want to hear what people have to say about like how nerd culture feels like it's being shortchanged and all this other stuff, and we can see how it feels. It's like I said, it's just a personal thing that it's just kind of like, why does it feel like we're being, you know, scammed with this sort of stuff? It's just a personal feeling, and I don't know why. But that's it. Alright, guys. I'll catch you all later. Merrick, out. See you guys.